almost get the sense and feel like it's that time. This is the year where Lane Kiffin pulls it off. I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings, don't care, and I'm not over-exaggerating this when I say it. If we lose this game, you're not going to see my live reaction. It's not going to be pretty. We're switching it up a little bit, so you know how we normally do things around here on the channel. On Thursdays, we do our preview video. We preview not just one, but all the big time games on Thursday, and then on Sunday we do the recap, and the recap's still going to stay the same. However, what we're going to do this week, since there is so many big time games that I think deserve to be talked about more in just a couple of minutes, we're going to make multiple different preview videos. For example, later tonight, we're doing a Colorado-Oregon preview, come back for that. And in this video, we're going to do the Alabama-Ole Miss preview. And tomorrow, what I'm thinking about doing is we're going to do a separate video for the Ohio-Lilbro State versus Notre Dame game. And then we're going to do our regular scheduled Thursday preview with a bunch of the games. There's just so many great games to look forward to. We got 6 top 25 matchups, and really, it should have been 7 if Clemson wouldn't have played so poorly against Duke. It's going to be a great weekend, so I know a lot of you aren't Ole Miss and Alabama fans, but tomorrow, which is Thursday, we'll talk about all the other games. So come on back for that, but I assume my main reason you clicked onto this video is for the Ole Miss Alabama preview. Well, Matt, you idiot, this is the video. Why else would they have clicked on it? I know, that was stupid of me to say, but just stick with me. Let's move on. In today's video, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm excited for this one. We are going to preview Alabama versus the Lane Train and Ole Miss. Make no mistakes about it, this is a big time game. I know the focus is going to be on Colorado and Deion Sanders and Oregon and Lilbro State versus Notre Dame, but this game has got to be up there. And the reason I think this game is actually more important than it was before the season is because Alabama has one loss. Essentially meaning Alabama's season, it's on the line in this game. If Alabama loses this game, could you imagine this? Can you believe these words are about to come out of my mouth? Alabama, a Nick Saban-led team, is going to be 2-2 before October? What about that? That's unfamiliar territory. Seriously, if Alabama loses this game, essentially speaking, their season 2023, it's already over. Why do I say that? Because no 2-loss team has ever made the 14 college football playoff. And we all know this. The bare minimum standard at Alabama is to at least get in the playoff. So I think this game does have more appeal now than it did before the season. And also to go on top of that, a main reason people are going to tune in is to see what in the crap's going on with the quarterback situation. We all know that Jalen Milroe's the guy, but still, this offense, it looked bad against Texas and South Florida. It wasn't atrocious against Texas. It wasn't good, but it wasn't atrocious. Against South Florida, whew, it was pitiful. But it's a new week. Jalen Milroe, he's going to be the guy, and the team has had a player meeting. There's just been so much stuff going on. We've already talked all about it. Alabama has had a lot of quote-unquote internal problems within this team, and if you don't want to take my word for it, the reason I put quote-unquote around that is because that's coming from Nick Saban. That's not coming from MattBeGreat. Nick Saban is the one who stated this team has quote-unquote internal issues. So you can do what you please with that information. Now, outside of that, we know the conversation is going to be about Alabama, but what about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, the Lane Train? Don't look up now, but Ole Miss already has a top 25 win. Don't look up now, but Ole Miss has a pretty dang good quarterback in Jackson Dart. Don't look up now, but Ole Miss might have a decent shot of pulling off this, I guess you'd say, upset. Is it an upset, though? Alabama is only a 6.5 point favorite, and most people think that's way too much. I've seen some people even state that Ole Miss should be the favorite in this game. Do I believe that? No, because I have common sense. But here's what I will tell you. I got a couple buddies that are Alabama friends, and they think Ole Miss is going to win this game. I guess I shouldn't be shocked by that, because if you're an Alabama fan, you know how poorly this team has played the past couple of weeks. But here's what you also got to understand, and I want to remind everybody out there in the country about this. Alabama is still Alabama. What do I mean by that? Well, to be honest, I think you know what I mean. I shouldn't have to explain it. Every single person can sit up here all day and try to convince themselves this dynasty's over, but as long as Nick Saban is walking out there with this Alabama team, you know he can catch lightning in a bottle and he can turn this shipwreck around. My point in saying that is, although you may be off the Bama hype train and you may say they're falling off, which I can understand, you're not fully off the Alabama hype train. You know deep down, similar to Tiger Woods and Tom Brady, this Alabama team can catch a lightning in the bottle, and it's the best example I can give you. The example I'm going to use is Tiger Woods. No matter how many obstacles and adversity he went through in his career, everybody knew deep down, you can't give up on this guy. Everybody knew one day he's going to have a tournament. He's going to have a weekend where it all comes back. That's how it is for this Alabama team. And all these Alabama haters, you know I'm right. You know you can't count this team out. You know it. With that being said, it also doesn't hurt that here's a little fun fact for you. In this ball game, Alabama has 18 5-star recruits on the roster, and Ole Miss only has 1. From a talent standpoint, Ole Miss doesn't even compare to Alabama. Alabama has the way better team and the far better team. But, and I have a big but, that doesn't always matter, does it? Alabama had the far superior team against South Florida, and South Florida gave them some fits and trouble. The weird part about this game is, although we don't know necessarily what to expect out of this Alabama team, we sort of know what to expect out of this Ole Miss team. I know most people out here didn't watch Ole Miss and Tulane or Ole Miss against Georgia Tech, but I watched both of those games. And in both of those games, I concluded that, yep, this is the same Lane Kiffin-led Ole Miss team. They want to establish the run first, then pass, and the defense, it's wishy-washy. I will say, though, the front seven for Ole Miss is surprisingly better than what I thought to start the season. The one thing that would concern me if I'm an Alabama fan about this Ole Miss team is not the offense, it's the front seven and the edge rushers. This Ole Miss team has a great pass rush and arguably one of the best pass rushes in the entire SEC. They can get to the quarterback. Now, are they going to give up some big-time plays? Yes, but that's your typical Lane Kiffin defense. You're going to pop off a few, but they're also going to make some big plays. I expect this Ole Miss defense to do pretty good against Alabama. Would I go as far as saying Ole Miss has a good defense? No, I wouldn't. I'll give them average at best. But here's the thing. We all know this. If you give Lane Kiffin, if you were to tell Lane Kiffin, hey, you're going to have an average defense, he'd be grinning ear to ear. He'd say, hey, that's all we need. You know what gets Lane Kiffin up in the mornings? It's not defense, I'll tell you that. It's scoring points and scheming plays on offense. Through their 3 games, granted, they haven't played the best of the best competition, but ratherless, Ole Miss is averaging roughly 50 points per game. To go on top of that, they're averaging a whopping 526.7 total yards of offense. I think we can come to the terms and agreement with. That's not too bad at all. Here's something we need to pay attention to, though. Weirdly enough, Ole Miss's best rusher is their quarterback, Jackson Dart. He is the team's leading rusher this year with 32 carries for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lane Kiffin wants to utilize Jackson Dart not through the air, but on the ground. That's what you need to pay attention to on Saturday, because so many people out here, when they think of a Lane Kiffin-led offense, they think of passing the ball 50 times per game. No. That is not what he wants to do. He doesn't believe in that. Lane Kiffin, believe it or not, and if you kept up with this dude, you know this, he wants to run the ball first, then pass. He uses the run game to open up the pass game. But for some reason, people just can't understand that. And all in all, for Ole Miss's offense versus Alabama's defense, it's going to be a good matchup. I think Alabama this year has a good defense. Are they great? No, not even close, but I'll give them good. They got so much talent on the defensive side of the ball, it's not even fair. It's just not. But here's what also would concern me if I'm an Alabama fan. I think Lane Kiffin and his offense, they have the upper hand on Alabama's defense. Almost get the sense and feel like it's that time. This is the year where Lane Kiffin pulls it off. And I hate to say that, but it's how I truly feel. It almost seems like the year where everything's going to click for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, and they're going to get the job done. And speaking of job done, heck, last year, Ole Miss should have beat Alabama. Alabama got lucky to win that game. And matter of fact, while I'm thinking about it, why don't we pull it up? In that ball game, Alabama won 30-24, and they got lucky because Ole Miss had a terrible fumble that cost them 7 points. And in that game, you know what the X factor was? No other than Bryce Young. 21 for 33, 200 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2, guess what? 0 INTs. Alabama won this game not because Bryce Young played out of his mind, but because he protected the ball. You know exactly where I'm about to go with this. For Alabama's quarterback this year, Jalen Milroe, can he do that? Can he protect the ball? Because if he can protect the ball and give Alabama a great shot to win this game, Alabama more than likely will win this game. However, similar thing to the Texas game, and I hate to repeat myself here, but if you have 2 interceptions against a good top 15 team, you're more than likely going to lose. It is very rare for a quarterback to have 2 interceptions, costly ones at that, one of them essentially being a pick 6, and you still win the game and overcome that. It's just hard to overcome, man. It's extremely hard to overcome. But with that being said, I don't think that's the X factor, guys. I don't think Jalen Milroe's the X factor. I think he's the, let's say we're going to have a big X factor and a small one. He's the smaller one. To me, at least, the biggest X factor in this game isn't Jalen Milroe, but it's the Alabama offensive line. I don't care. I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings. Don't care, and I'm not over-exaggerating this when I say it. This Alabama offensive line unit is trash. It is the worst offensive line unit I've ever seen under Nick Saban. It's so bad, it's pitiful, and what's even more embarrassing about it is heading into the season, all we were told is this Alabama offensive line is supposed to be one of the best Nick Saban's ever had. Well, guess what? 3 weeks in, it's one of the worst. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a chemistry issue. I don't know if it's something going on with the quarterbacks going in and out with the offensive coordinator. And oh yeah, can't forget to mention and bring this up. Our center can't even snap the ball right without throwing it over the head, fumbling it. Don't even get me started on that. Anyways, like I was saying, I don't know what the problem is, but here's what I know. We got a problem. The offensive line's bad. And last week, Ty Simpson only played a quarter and a half, and he got sacked 5 times. And you know what's not good about that? Just like I said in the beginning of this video, Ole Miss, they have a pretty good pass rush. So similar to the Texas game, let's say Ole Miss jumps out on top 10-3, maybe even 17-3, and they can pin their ears back on defense. Alabama won't win this game. No way. I think the X factor in this game, and the big X factor of that, is this offensive line. Can you give Jalen Milroe time to pass? I'm not saying you got to give him 7 to 8 seconds, but at least give him 4 to 6 seconds. He needs time, man. He needs time. He's not Bryce Young. He can't progress and read defenses in a split second. And also, now that I brought it up, this is also a small X factor, if you shall say. Whoever jumps out on top first, they'll more than likely win this game. If Ole Miss comes out, scores a couple of touchdowns, this might be a cruise for them. They might walk away with this. Vice versa, if Jalen Milroe goes out here and leads us to 2 opening touchdown drives and we're up 14-3, then we can really set into our offensive scheme where we want to run the ball, then pass. But like I was saying, if we get behind and we just got to pass, that's not a position we want to be in, not with Milroe. We want to play ahead and we want to jump out on top first. With all that great stuff being said, and I know it was a lot, here's what it comes down to for me. And for all of you out there that predict these games or you have your prediction, I would like for you to ask yourself this question as well. When it comes down to a close game like this, I ask myself, would I bet my house, would I bet my car, whatever's important to you, on Ole Miss to beat Alabama? Because it's very easy to sit up here and say, oh yeah, I'll take Ole Miss to upset them when you have nothing to lose. But think about it like you got to bet your car on Ole Miss. And guess what? For every single one of you out here, the answer to that question is no. You wouldn't bet your house, your car, apartment, whatever on Ole Miss. You wouldn't. You can sit up here all day and say, hey, yeah, I'm taking Ole Miss plot the upset, but you don't believe that. None of you believe that. None of you actually believe Ole Miss is going to win this game. Not a single one of you. Therefore, you know where I'm going with this. I'm taking Alabama because ain't no way I'd bet my house on Ole Miss to beat Alabama. I'd bet my house on Alabama to beat Ole Miss, but I couldn't do it vice versa. Therefore, my prediction to this game is simple to me. Give me the Tide. I don't care how bad Alabama's looked the past 2 weeks. It's Alabama. And also, how about we throw this in there? Who in their right mind would bet their house on Lane freaking Kiffin? The guy's a goofball. I love me some Lane Kiffin. He's such a cool dude, but come on now. It's Kiffin. He's a certified goofy goober. We know this. Give me the Tide, man. This is an easy prediction. However, I do think it's going to be close. I got Alabama winning this game 28-21. I think it's going to be close. I think Jalen Milroe, maybe potentially he makes a mistake and the Bama defense needs to step up. Maybe Alabama gets a pick 6. Who knows? You might see some crazy plays in this game. And I want to emphasize this. I do think it's going to be close, but I can't pick against Alabama. Nobody can. I do expect the Bama defense to play somewhat good, but I also do expect the Alabama offense to struggle. I think Alabama's offense will struggle in this game, so you should expect that. If they do struggle, I don't want to see anybody on Twitter going, oh my gosh, can't believe the offense is struggling. Well, no crap, they're struggling. There's been a quarterback battle going on for the last 4 weeks. You really think we're going to fix it just like that over 5 to 6, 7 days? No, it doesn't work like that. It's a work in progress, and I also believe Jalen Milroe, he's not going to have a lot of time to throw. Just because I have Alabama win this game, it doesn't mean it's going to be a cupcake. But what separates Jalen Milroe and what helps him out and what makes him the best quarterback for Alabama is because since we have a terrible offensive line, we can utilize his legs. A quarterback that can scramble and use his legs, it might get ugly. I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts down below about that. I expect to see some quarterback rollouts to the right, some read options. We need Jalen Milroe to have at least, I'd say, 13 carries in this game. Anything less than 10, that's just unacceptable. If we are going to commit to Milroe, then how about we draw up plays for Milroe? I don't want to see Milroe throwing the ball 40 times a game. I want to see him throwing the ball 25 times a game and running 15 times a game like Cam Newton. I'm going to say this before we end up this video. If we lose this game, you're not going to see my live reaction. It's not going to be pretty.